Of a series that we started last week, and it was titled Things I Wish I Believed Then. And what I've realized throughout life is there are a lot of things today that I believe now that I didn't used to. And there are things that I've learned through really bad mistakes and a lot of chaos along the journey of life that if I could go back in time, I wish I knew when I was in school, when I was in middle school, when I was in high school. So this whole sermon series is really built around me trying to get to you truths I had to learn the hard way. Kind of want you to see them now and believe them now so that you're actually ahead of the game, where you're called to be and what you're called to do. And last week we talked about what I wish I believed then that I know now is that you got more time than you think you do. Hashtag seniors, quit tripping. God got you. You got plenty of time to do and see and be everything God's called you to be. Care, pray, have plans, have goals. I'm not saying don't try. I'm just telling you, you got more time. Things go south, it'll be all right. There's a lot of time and God's ability to change lives. And so today we're starting week number 2. My question for you is simple. Have you ever had like a conversation that like seemed really simple, but like you can look back now and realize it was incredibly profound? Like what maybe felt like just a normal, regular moment actually shifted kind of the way you see things, the way that you believe, the way that you think. For me, I've had a few moments like that throughout my life, and there's one that happened when I was 6. And so when I was 6, before my bio dad left my life, I had a grandma, and she was super cool. Of course, I had a grandma household to get here. Anyways, she was really special. She made the best sausage in the world. Like, I can still taste it, man. Like, it was so long ago, but it's like once you've had perfection, you don't forget it. And, man, they were so good. And I was really close with her, but she had breast cancer. And I didn't really know, like, a working definition of what cancer was at that age. I just knew it was bad. I knew she was sick. And she was in the hospital for a while. And my dad came home, and he let me know, hey, son, your grandma's dead. And that's exactly how he told me. There was no setup. There was nothing. It was just matter of fact. And me, being a functioning human being, I start crying because, like, my grandma was special to me. And so she's not here. And I'm crying, and I'm processing through what this means. And my dad's response to me was, what are you crying for? Like, your tears aren't bringing her back. Like, your emotions make you soft. Like, crying isn't changing anything. And my 6-year-old self took that to the bank. And that one conversation affected so much of my life. I navigated every relationship, every moment of elementary, middle school, high school with the belief that feelings make you soft. That when you feel things, if you let them show, you've already lost the fight. And it shifted for me the whole perception I have on what emotions are and how to handle feelings. And so for me, I hid them all. And what happened is it like created so much chaos, this belief that like I can't feel things. I have to ignore them. They don't exist. They're not a thing. And it's made friendships really hard. Like, because I can't really acknowledge when they're having a hard time because we don't do feelings. That's not what we do. We're men. And we don't mess with all that. In marriage, like, it's made it really difficult because like there are parts of me that like when I'm sad and I'm down, I have a really hard time letting Nicole in because I'm at 29 still wrestling with this belief that feelings, they make you soft. And I'm supposed to be a man. I'm supposed to hold this down. I got to keep all my stuff together. You hide your emotions. You don't let them go. I mean, I've seen it even as a parent now when my kids are crying over things that seem minuscule to me. I can feel like this tension in me. That if I'm not careful, my immediate response will be, well, that doesn't matter. What are you crying for? You see, so for me, what I wish I believed then, that I know now, is that you have to feel to heal. You have to feel to heal. You can't ignore emotions. You can't act like they're there. You can't just pretend like they don't exist. And I don't know about you, man, but for me, the most frustrating thing maybe about emotions and feelings is feelings don't need your consent. They show up. They don't need your permission. They don't need your okay. In fact, they half the time could care less how you feel about said feelings. They're going to show up. Like, it don't matter how old you are, how wise you get, if you become Gandalf the Grey from Lord of the Rings, like, feelings will still catch you sideways. You could be minding your own business and something just out of nowhere, it gets you. Why? Because feelings don't need your consent. They show up. They exist because we were built to have them. For example, I don't care how much you don't want things to be hot. If you go home and you put your bare palm on a burning hot coal on your stove, guess what's going to happen? That flesh is going to sear. And it's going to suck so many different ways. You're going to blisters. It's going to hurt. And no matter how much you don't want that to be true, it will not change the fact that it will absolutely hurt you. Because you can bundle up all you want, okay? But when it's negative 2 degrees outside, if I just lock you outside, no matter how many layers you got on, guess who's going to get cold? You. Because it's going to be out there big time shivering, teeth clacking, you. Why? Because your feelings don't need your permission to show up. You were designed to feel. If you go outside and you work your butt off, you get out in the sun, you mow 32 yards a day. I don't even know how you would do that, but if you do it, guess what's going to happen when you get home? You're going to be tired. It just is what it is. And no matter how much you wish you weren't tired, you will still be tired. It will still hit you. At some point, your body will just lock you down. You're going to sleep whether or not you want to or not is happening. Why? Because you were designed to feel. Emotions were given to you absolutely on purpose. And one of my favorite ways I've ever heard people talk about emotions are they're really like check engine lights. They let you know something's up. The good ones, the bad ones, they're all telling you a story. And if we train ourselves to ignore them, if we train ourselves to act like they're not happening, there are things our bodies are trying to tell us that we're just not getting the message, which is a terribly dangerous way to live life. Now, for some of us, knowing we can't stop the emotion doesn't stop us from trying to numb it. While I may not be able to change the fact that emotions come, I for sure can numb it. And for some of us, that's really how drugs happen. In my opinion, every addiction is really just trying to run away from emotions we don't want to feel. And for some of us, man, if we could just get high enough, it won't matter no more. You know what I'm saying? Feet don't touch the ground. I'm chilling, right? So for some of us, we're running to whatever we can to get ourselves from that feeling. For some of us, man, you will hop from relationship to relationship to relationship because you are so afraid of being alone. And there is no amount of one-night stands, there is no amount of moments you can have with another individual that will heal that feeling. You got to process that. People can't change the feeling inside you. You have to assess it. You have to deal with it. And there's no relationship in the world that will change what you feel. They can't numb you. They're true. They exist. I'll give you one more. For some of us, man, like we will run to alcohol super quick. Like some of y'all are like 16 and can drink grown men under the table because you've already spent years trying to hide what you feel. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't change that they're there. Numbing it does not change for you the feeling you're experiencing. So the question for us is how do we actually process those feelings? Because the reverse is also dangerous, which is more the side I would lean on. Like, anybody got any like master justifiers? Actually, don't raise your hand. I don't want to call you out like that. I am. Your boy can justify all kinds of sin. I'm so daggone good at it. I can spin scripture so quick to make what I want to do fit what I want to do. Like I am so good at justifying every bad behavior in my life. And that's the ditch I'll go into, right? I'm not going to act like I'm going to ignore the feeling. No. I'm going to just justify it. I know it's there, but I'm not going to address it. I'm going to just make an excuse for why it's okay. Like anybody ever just had the thought of like, God gets it. He knows it. Like you made him pretty, bro. Like I'll tell you, like that was your masterpiece, God. Go ahead. Good job. Like, I mean, but like for real though, like, I mean, I get like I should do this, God, but I really just don't want to. And I know you empathize with the fact that this is really hard for me. You get it, right? So I'll just justify all the emotions. For some of us, it's like, I'm just call it like it is. It's not my responsibility how you feel about it. I'm going to just tell you the truth because it's the truth. That's on you. Your feelings get hurt, sucks for you because I'm going to just tell you like it is because that's what I do. That's who I am. I'm telling the truth. And the truth will set you free. Watch me go. For others of us, they deserved it. That's on them. Like, you shouldn't have done it. You don't want me to fire back, you shouldn't have said nothing to me. Right? Like, shouldn't have made that dumb call. That's on you, bro. I want to tell you. Like, you deserve all that. And so we'll shift from actually having empathy to just, well, that's what they get because, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's not how we're called to be. And it doesn't fix the emotions you're actually feeling. And just like a check engine light, if you ignore your emotions long enough, they will cost you. It will blow up in your face so fast. And you won't see it coming because you would have ignored it for so long that the price comes due. It's so important that we understand to heal, we have to feel. Because some of us, what will happen if we ignore them long enough or we justify them long enough, we just become bitter. We become cynical and no one's good and nothing's good and everybody sucks. And it's just, I'm going to get mine before I get God. And so we don't have joy anymore. Anything to be excited about life because we're just so bitter. For some of us, we just lose hope it'll ever get different because we just accepted it, whatever. We're going to ignore it. We're not going to try to change anything. We're going to act like they're not there. For some of y'all, you might be like me and use volcano. Here's what I mean by volcano. man, you can only stuff so much deep down. At some point, game on. Like, I don't care if you are the most reserved, kind individual. At some point, it's just game on. You can only fit so much deep down before the volcano explodes. And I don't know about you, but for me, man, I've created far more pain with my words than I ever have my hands. I have watched time and time and time again my decision to not address the emotions and feeling I'm having not just cost me, but cost the people I care about, hurt the people closest to me. I've seen what happens when I don't check myself. The whole idea that sticks and stones will break your bones but words will never hurt you, false. It's not real. Some of the deepest cuts you'll ever have come from people's words. Some of the worst wounds you'll ever create from somebody else come from your words. You see, Scripture says this in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 30. A sound mind makes for a robust body. Runaway emotions corrode the bones. Runaway emotions corrode the bones. I've seen this be true 100 times over in my life. I have seen what not processing my emotions has done to my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. I have seen what this can do, like, to my body. And if you're in here, maybe you're like a 6-year-old, like, I've never really felt big emotions like that. That's okay. Just look at the people in your life. Because if you think long enough, you can find someone you know that you know that's true for. You've seen the product of what them not processing their emotions is. My whole family, just a bunch of twos. Like, they do not process emotions. We do not have hard conversations. If something even looks slightly difficult, we run the exact opposite way. And I have watched what a lifetime of not having hard conversations, of what not processing emotions has done to my family. If you look at my family, almost every single one of them look 10 to 15 years older than they should. Because I actually think the scripture is like literally true. I think not processing your emotions will genuinely affect your body in ways you don't know. You can't hide them. They exist, they're there, and the only way to solve it, the only way to heal is to feel. We've got to get to a place where we can process them. What I wish I believed then that I know now is you have to feel to heal. To be able to get healthy, to see the life God's called you to, it means accepting the emotions that come and learning how to process them. But how do we do that? Like, how do we process emotions in a way that it leads to healing and not destruction? You see, in therapy, what they teach you on how to process your emotions is there's really 3 steps. The first one is you hold the emotion. The second one is you sort it. And the third one is you release it. And tonight, what I want you to understand is that's not just words, but in Scripture, we watch Jesus do that. And if Jesus needed to learn how to hold, to sort, and to release, I promise you, you and I need to too. It's necessary. It's crucial for the health and life He's called us to. So there's this moment in Scripture that's happening. Newsflash, Jesus dies on the cross. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it happens. And He actually comes back to life. So we'll get to that in a second. It's real cool. But what happens is on that journey, it wasn't like Jesus got caught by surprise. He actually knew what He was doing. And Jesus has this epic Last Supper with His disciples. It's super profound. It's amazingly meaningful. We're going to talk about some of that come Thanksgiving. And it's super awesome. Like, and then Jesus has to tell Peter, like, you're my boy, bro, but you about to deny me not once, not twice, 3 times, dog. Like, so already, Jesus is kind of feeling like, this sucks, man. You should have me, but I know you're not going to. Then the next thing is He realizes the crucifixion's next. He understands what He's about to go through. Jesus is about to go through an unimaginable amount of pain for you and me. And He knows what's next. He knows He's about to get taken captive. For Jesus has all of these emotions, all of these things He must be feeling. And His response, go to a garden and pray. And let's check out what Jesus does when He's faced with the unimaginable. He is faced with pain you will never know and you will never experience. It takes place in Matthew chapter 26, 36 through 38. Then Jesus went with His disciples to a place called Gethsemane. And He said to them, sit here while I go over there and pray. He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with Him. The 2 sons' names are James and John. And He began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then He said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. You see, if we're ever going to be able to process our emotions, the first thing you and I have to do is hold them. You see, they've studied emotions, and typically it takes about 3 to 5 minutes for a full emotion to come and pass. Like, for you to really get to feel the full experience of emotion, on average, it's about 3 to 5 minutes. Very rarely is it ever more than that. And the problem is for some of us, we don't wait. What I need you to understand is we can't hit the eject button on our feelings. There are things our bodies are trying to tell us, but we won't wait with the emotion long enough. It comes, it shows up, it hits us, and we run, we bail. But if you can wait the 3 to 5 minutes, you're about to experience the full emotion that you have, which gives you the ability to process. And Jesus, instead of ejecting, you watch him in the garden fully experience, fully feel the emotions that he has. And the step is crucial because what it does, it allows us to process our feelings. It allows us to actually figure out what the heck is happening to us. What happens is for many of us, we'll get stuck on what I'm going to call protective emotions. Like we'll have all these emotions that really just keep people out. Like, so we'll be really angry, or we'll be frustrated, or we'll be jealous, or we'll have rage. And what happens is these emotions, while they are valid, they're secondary. They're not actually what's happening. They're just a facade we put that keep everyone away, because we are not about to let you hurt us more. So game on. # I'm mad. That's just how I flow. That's what I do. My immediate response to all emotions is let's fight. And for some of us, man, that's what we do. Like we'll put all of these protective emotions up and we just push people out. So we never get to what we're actually feeling. We stick on that first process. But what happens when you hold the emotion is you get past the protective emotion and you can start to shift to the vulnerable ones. You see, the vulnerable emotions look like being able to say, I'm hurt. I'm angry because you hurt me. It allows us to shift from, well, I'm mad, really because I'm sad. Like my heart's hurt. It sounds like being able to say, like, you humiliated me. It sounds like being able to say, like, no, I'm really overwhelmed. And the difference between the two emotions is one actually allows people in. One creates room for empathy. One says, here's what I'm actually feeling, come help. And the other says, get the heck away from me. I don't want this. And the problem is if you spend your life in protective emotions, you'll never be able to get the healing God has for you, because that's where the vulnerability is needed. You can hold the emotion long enough to find out what it is you're feeling. And this is what we see Jesus do. Matthew chapter 26:38, I'll read it one more time. It says, then he said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. Jesus holds the emotion to where now he's finally able to actually say what it is he's feeling. I'm overwhelmed with sorrow. Like he knows what's coming, and now he's finally able to get to the actual emotion that's taking place. And then we get to see him process to the next step, which is sort. You got to hold the emotions, man. You can't hit the eject button, but once you get there, the next process is to sort them, which means we got to figure out, like, what happened to create this and what do we do with it? How did the emotion get here? And now what do we do with it? And what we see Jesus do in the next verse, he says in verse 39, going a little further, he fell face down and he prayed. My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. What you see Jesus doing, he's legitimately sorting out the emotion. Like, do I have to do this? Like, God, is there any other way? Like, do I have to experience this emotion? Do I have to face all of what's coming in front of me? Like, do I have to do this? Do I need to walk through all of this? Is there any other option? Like, I don't know if you know this or not, but the idea of the cross is not really exciting. And Jesus, being fully human, also is feeling every emotion that comes with that. And it's like, is there any other way to do this? Like, do I have to do this? Do I have to go through this? He's sorting through, is the emotion valid? Like, he's sorting through, like, is the pain I'm about to face worth the purpose of what's happening next? Like, he's sorting through it. And it takes time. It means wrestling. It means processing, which is why you can't just feel the emotion. You can't just hold the emotion. It's got to shift to sorting it. You've got to get to the spot to where it's like, all right, but what do I do with it? What does this mean for me? And the reason the sorting process matters is because it allows us to get the why and the what. Sometimes you've got to figure out, like, why am I feeling this? Is there an injustice that was done? Did something happen that shouldn't have happened? How did I get to this emotion? Should I feel this way? Is there anything I can do about it? Is the feeling even accurate? Like, am I really, like, is this real or is this made up? Like, what do I do with it? You're sorting through all of the different possibilities of what the emotions can mean. And it matters because what it does, it gives us context for what we're feeling and what we need to do with it. Have you ever had a moment in your life where it's like, someone's like, why did you do that? And like God's honest truth, you got no clue. Like, I don't know. Now, for me, I'm telling you, my entire life in school was like that. Elementary all the way to high school. Why in the world did you do that? Like, I'm not dodging it. I legit don't know. It just happened. Like it was just, it was what it was. Like I could have probably told you like what I was feeling and why I was feeling it, but I had no clue why that thing played out the way it did. I had no idea how to sort my emotions. I'm sitting in the principal's office and I've got like no clue. All I know is I feel really big feelings, but I don't know why I feel them, and I got no clue what I'm gonna do with them. So it's just subject to the wind and how this thing plays out. And what I wanna give to you are two really simple questions that will help you process how to sort your emotions. The first one is, why am I feeling this? Why am I experiencing this sadness? Why am I experiencing this hurt? If you're on anger, why am I angry? Which gets you to being able to figure out why you're actually sad. Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? What happened? How did we get here? And then the next question is, what do I do about it? What do I do with the feeling? It's not just enough to know why, but you got to figure out how you're going to move forward with it. What do we do now that we know what's actually happening inside our own hearts? But like, I don't know about you, but there's been a lot of moments in my life where I couldn't sort it. And some pains are just so real for you, you don't know what's up and what's down. Sometimes things just hurt so much, you've got no clue what to do with it. What do you do in that moment? What do you do when you can't figure out how to sort the emotion? You're trying your hardest, but you've got no freaking idea how this happened or what you're going to do about it. You just know you hurt. You know your heart is broken. You know that you feel terrible, and I'm just stuck in this moment. What do I do when I can't sort the problem? I think Jesus shows us in Matthew chapter 26, verse 37. Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. See, I think Jesus is showing us that you don't have to sort alone. And God is really big and he is incredible and he will change your life. But there are some times in your life where you are so hurt you can't hear clearly. You can't see clearly. And that's where people who you trust and who you love need to be a part. It's the whole point behind tribes. It's because I understand while you go through middle school and high school, things are gonna happen. People are gonna make decisions you have no control over, and you're gonna be stuck with emotions you don't know what to do with. And while you may not feel like you have anywhere else that's safe enough to actually process what's happening, I want to create a space where you can belong before you believe. I wanna create a space where you are surrounded by leaders who love you just enough to be able to sit with you in the moment, who are gonna help you hold it and help you sort it. You do not have to navigate your emotions by yourself. The way I wanna say it is, you don't have to feel alone. You don't have to feel alone. You don't have to experience the emotions by yourself, man. When you face moments in your life and you don't know what to do with it, that's when you ask for help. If Jesus needed to take somebody to the garden, might be a pretty good idea that you and I need to too. It might mean that we need community just as much as Jesus did. If the Messiah needed people, we do too. Romans chapter 12, verse 15 says, rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. Man, we were always meant to process in community. We were always meant to do life with each other, because there are some moments in life where the feelings are too big to be able to see. And the people who love us most, who care for us most, who are there for us in the best and the worst moments, can help us figure out, how do I sort this? I'm 29, I'm still doing this. Like, just so you understand, this is not like an at you sermon. Like on Sunday, like I was in a staff meeting and I lost my mind, full flipped out, like full sent. Like all my feelings got hurt. People did something, made a decision. I was super salty. And I'm sitting with all of our pastors, and your boy is showing all of his feelings. That's not to give you permission to act crazy. There's hope on the back end of this. I'm in the meeting and I'm mad, like super upset. And like, I've got my staff, I've got the team around me, and they're helping me see, like, bro, you're not mad right now. Like, you are bitter as a mug. What's happening? What's happening inside your heart? It's like, I'm good. What do you mean? Like, I'm ready to fight. Like, why are you ready to fight? Don't make no sense. There's nothing to fight about. But I'm ready. Like, I got you. I'm going in on some people. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm sad. I'm not mad. My heart's hurt because there are people I love, and I'm watching them make decisions I think are going to hurt them. You see, I was having a protective emotion because I didn't want you to know. My heart hurt. I was sad, and I didn't want to see people make a decision that was going to hurt them. But people helped me sort the actual emotion I was feeling to get to what happened. And now I understand what's happening. I can have empathy. I can pray, and I can be there for them. I'm not mad at them. I'm sad for them. And what that does, it creates space for people to come in and help. So the two questions what we ask are, why am I feeling this, and what do I do about it? And when you don't know the answers to those questions, you bring people in to help you see them. Your student pastor did not know why he was feeling what he felt. But people close to me who love me helped me walk through it to where I could get healthy on the back end. Now I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm going to move forward. I know what I'm going to do with the emotion. You have to feel to heal. The last step is you got to release. You've got to learn how to let it go. You see, Jesus is processing with God. He's like, what do I do with the emotion? God, do I really have to do this? Do I have to take this step? Do I have to go through this? And once Jesus comes to the conclusion that he does, that you are worth it, that you are worth the pain, you are worth dying for, you are worth going through everything he's about to go through, this is what happens in verse 42. It says, he went away a second time and prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. See, once we hold the emotion and we sort it, man, we gotta let it go. We gotta release it. Jesus knows what he's called to do. He knows the step he's gonna take to. So what he does is he releases the pain. He releases the hurt. He releases the emotion so he can take the step God's calling him to. 1 Peter 5:8 says, casting all your cares on him because he cares about you. Eventually, we have to let it go. Eventually, we've got to let the feeling go. And for some of us, man, we have had some emotions that have been so locked away in our heart for so long, we will not let it go. You might know why you feel it. You might even know what you need to do about the emotion. You might even know what you need to do, but for whatever reason, man, you are just white knuckling this thing because I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm sad. And at some point, you've got to be able to let it go. Like at some point, you have to be able to just say, all right, God, like I'm still sad. I know why I'm feeling. I know what I need to do, but God, I can't do it on my own. I'm going to cast my care to you. God, I'm going to give it over to you. How do we do that? It sounds real easy for me to look you in the eyes and be like, you should do it. Give your cares away to Jesus. Stop being sad. Give him your emotions. How do you pull it off? And if I'm being honest with you, I got no idea how you do it without Jesus. Like if you're in this room and you feel trapped by emotions and you wouldn't say Jesus is the Lord of your life, I have no idea for you. I know I'm going to be here for you. I know this will always be a space you can belong if you believe. I know these leaders will love you like crazy. I know we will try our best to help you sort it, but I cannot make you release it. We can't help you release it. At some point, there's got to be someone bigger than you that you can cast your cares to. The reason I don't know how you do this without Jesus is because there's no one in your life. There's nobody in your life that can carry your emotions. No matter how amazing your mom is, no matter how awesome your dad is, no matter how great your friends are, the people in your circle, their shoulders are not big enough to carry your emotions. They just aren't. I'm not big enough. No matter how much I love you, your tribe leader is not strong enough to carry all of your emotions. Only Jesus has shoulders broad enough, strong enough, big enough to carry the weight of all that you experience. And not only is he the only one, he is the only person that can look you in the eyes and say, I get it. He's the only one that can actually empathize with every emotion. Man, I can get with you on some things, but there are some things you've gone through, some things you felt that I got no idea. And I'm going to fail you if you come to me and you need me to carry all the way the most because I don't get it, but Jesus does. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15, it reads like this. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are. Yet he did not sin. Every way. Like Jesus is the only person who can look you in the eyes and say, me too. Jesus is the only person who can say me too. He's the only one who really gets it. He's the only person that no matter what range of emotions you are on today can sympathize with it. They can get it. They can feel it with you. And if you don't release it, it will haunt you the rest of your life. I don't need scripture to prove that one to me. While it does, I've lived it. God, I spent so much of my life letting my frustration and my anger over who my dad was and what he did to me and what he put us through shift everything. Man, it came down to the way I loved my family, to the way I loved my wife, to the way I led people, to the way I served Jesus. Like it was like this shadow I just couldn't run from. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ignore the emotion of it. It just seeped its way out. Because why? Because runaway emotions, they corrode the bones. You can't shut it off. They're there, they're here. And unless you feel it, you cannot heal. Unless you process the emotion, this thing will chase you the rest of your life. And maybe the most frustrating thing about being able to heal and process emotions is healing is a choice. I wish I could do it for you. Man, I wish I could take your hurt and just carry it for you. Man, I wish I could take it off your plate. I wish I could hand it to Jesus for you, but only you can make the call. Only you can decide that you're tired of carrying all of it on your own, and you're going to say, Jesus, God, I give it to you. And you might have to release it every day. You might have to come back to this thing time and time and time and time again. But the beauty is the method always works. You hold the emotion, you process why I'm feeling it, then you sort that thing. What do I do with it? And you shift from sorting to, all right, Jesus, I release it to you. God, I cast this care to you. And you may need to do it 1 billion more times the rest of your life. But guess what's amazing is Jesus will never not be there to do it with you. He will always be there, always empathizing, always walking with, always being just strong enough to carry it for you. So what do? We have to feel to heal. Emotions are not weaknesses. They don't disqualify you. They just let you know something's up. And when you feel them and when those emotions show up, you hold it. You process, what am I feeling? And once that emotion rides its wave, the next thing you do is you sort that thing and you say, all right, what do I do with this? Why am I feeling this? What do I do with it? And then you end it with releasing it. And you let it go. All right, Jesus, I know why I feel it. I know what I need to do with it. God, I give it to you. And the beauty of God is grace bridges all the gap. He shows up every time, ready to forgive, ready to love, ready to heal. The question you have to ask yourself today is, will you choose to heal? Will you embrace the truth that you have to feel to heal? Let's pray.